Hello, my name is Chris, and this video will cover the way I play Gnar, and hopefully will help someone win more League of Legends. I'll try to use clips from my games, both of my best plays and my many mistakes. I'll start by covering all of his abilities. His passive is Rage Gene. That's what lets him turn into Mega Gnar and generate rage, but it does some other things too. It gives Mini Gnar 0 to 100 extra attack range based off level, kind of like Tristana, but a lot less range. And it also gives Mini 0 to 20 move speed based off level. I'll get into more details about Rage, the main part of his passive, later. His Q is a line skill shot boomerang that can be caught on the way back to refresh 40% of the ability's cooldown. In Mega, it becomes a boulder and doesn't come back, but can still be caught. His W is Hyper, which applies a stack on a champion when you auto or hit them with an ability. At 3 stacks, you'll deal bonus damage and gain move speed. In Mega, his W is Wallop. It's a small stun skill shot with short cast time. His E is Hop. You hop in the target direction, and if you land on another unit, you go further in the same direction. In Mega, it's Crunch. You jump in the target direction, but with a bigger damage zone and no second bounce for hitting a unit. His R is Gnar. In Mini, it just gives you extra move speed on Hyper. In Mega, you throw champions in a target direction. If they hit terrain, they get stunned. Now, let's talk about runes. Gnar has a few options. Fleet Footwork gives you sustain, Conquer gives you long-term fighting power, Glacial Augment could even be argued, but I think it's a little bit troll. But one rune beats the rest, and that's Grasp of the Undying. It gives him some of the sustain Fleet gives him, plus extra tankiness that Gnar desperately needs. Now this could change as patches come out and buffs and nerfs come to the runes, but as of patch 11.5, Grasp, in my opinion, is the best keystone for him. Now onto early laning. You want to start Q in every situation. I've experimented with W start in very easy matchups like Cho'Gath, but it never seems worth it, and Q seems to do more damage anyway. You max Q first, then W, then E. The number one thing you must remember to succeed with Gnar is to abuse your range. Up in top lane there are a lot of melee matchups, and if you are playing Gnar you have to punish that. At level 1, when someone walks up in lane to CS a minion and you can safely auto them, do it. Then instacast Q, then auto again. At level 2, this combo becomes even better because on the third auto you proc Hyper, allowing you to run from the retaliation trade or chase down for more autos. Side note about the Q. It comes back after it hits its first target, so even though this looks like it will hit the champion, because there's a minion before them it will not reach. You can play around this by aiming your Q around the minions, hitting the champion first, then repositioning yourself so that on the way back the boomerang also hits the minions, helping you push and CS. The lane phase continues with you harassing when you can, abusing your range, till your first Mega transformation, which usually occurs around level 2. A lot of people think that when you are Mega Gnar, you are just all around better, but I would argue, especially in early laning, being Mega is actually a downside. You lose your range advantage, and at level 2 you only have W as a CC, with the Q being much harder to hit. This doesn't mean you can't play aggressive though. You can wall up them as they walk up from melee minions, or a trick I use sometimes is that when I first Mega at level 2, I'm usually only a couple minions from 3. So I play aggro, kill the last couple melees with Q for level 3, crunch hop on the enemy, grabbing the boulder on the way through, wall up them, and then Q auto for the kill. Of course, this is the best case scenario, and most of the time you will just have to wait till mini before truly harassing again. At level 3, you get your hop, and now you are fully functional. How I use E in early laning is almost exclusively as an escape from ganks. Hopping on a minion or even the enemy jungler to get the double hop usually gets you far enough away to be safe. There are situations where you can use E to all in early, but it's very risky to do so. I would hold off on that unless you're sure you have the kill. The lane continues pretty much the same way, harassing while mini and playing safe / threatening all in while Mega, till 6. At 6, your all-in threat while about to turn Mega goes way up. You can get quite a few kills against people who don't respect that spike. Using mini form E while at full rage will give you a double hop, but you transform after the first hop and the second one becomes a crunch. Basically you get a huge gap close and a huge damage increase. One way to abuse this is to act like you're backing off the enemy wave as the enemy wave comes in, like you have been every other time you've turned Mega, and the enemy will walk up next to this wall. Then E on the first enemy melee, R, auto, W, auto, and Q and auto. This will kill or almost kill almost every champion in the game. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to auto between every ability. The extra AD you get as Mega is no joke, and the autos are free as they are stunned just long enough where you have to restun. And that's what makes this combo deadly. And now we're going to talk about some rage mechanics. So the first thing is that taking damage as well as dealing damage generates rage for you over time. You can transform into Gnar by using any ability, Q, W, or even R, or just waiting 4 seconds and it'll automatically transform for you. When you turn back into Gnar from Gnar, Gnar gets a debuff called Tired, which doesn't allow him to generate any more rage for 15 seconds, thus stopping him from getting Gnar too quickly after. These mechanics are important, especially in the mid-game, where managing rage becomes a much bigger deal. In the mid-game as Gnar, you mostly want to split push, because you will probably, or hopefully, be able to 1v1 anyone they send to you. While your team fights are good, it's hard to generate rage when grouped, and you also want solo XP so you can stay ahead in the 1v1. Try and split on the opposite side of the map with the main objective, so if Baron isn't up, for example, and Drag is about to spawn, you want to be top side, pressuring the lane, bringing enemies to your area. If the enemies aren't responding, you want to keep your rage at around 60 to 70%, so if the enemy's force of 5v4 onto your team, you can TP in fully Mega and ready to fight. Now, of course, that's the ideal. TPing into a fight, Mega, ulting the backline, and calling it a day. But that can't always happen. So you have to be ready to play team fights as both Mini and Mega. So when you're Mini and tired, unable to generate rage, that's the worst case scenario. You basically have to act like another ADC. If you can generate rage, you play not exactly frontlining, but not as safe as your true carries. Your whole goal is to generate rage as fast as possible, so you can get your CC off. Doing damage is one way to do that, but taking damage is also a fast way to transform. If you're about 67% rage, you can usually hop in to their team and you'll transform in time to Gnar them all into a wall or get a big CC. If you transform before the fight, it's much easier for the enemy team to play around you and disengage until you are Mini. So that's why you want to keep your rage around 70% so you get to decide when you transform instead of the enemy. This was a very basic look at how to play Gnar early and in mid-game team fights. I can go over specific matchups on another video, but I think this is where I'm going to end this one. Thank you for watching, and I hope you win more games.